What's up, Skate Ohio? It's BJ Price here with a very, 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 very special guest with me and Adam today. Andre Miripolsky is in the house, people. Let's go.
I love the
what an
C-Rob
introduction.
intro.
I got that.
You had to. That's that intro is famous among skating podcasts.
I see. Okay,
there's
great.
Yeah, we try
There's
to.
a tradition. Okay.
Yeah.
We try to keep all of that going, but welcome to the podcast. I know we haven't been here in a long time, but
When's the last time we did an episode? It's been a few months, maybe.
I want to say it was like the Sodi episode.
Yeah,
probably.
okay. So that's like February.
February. So Grindhogs Day.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I'm honored.
Yeah, so right before we started, I'll just fill everybody in. Andre asked how often we do a podcast. I told him it's a sensitive subject because
man, we want to do more. We really do.
For the last year and a half, we're like, all right, let's try to get on a schedule every week, maybe every 2 weeks, something like that, to just get a stream going. And just with everything going on, we do it maybe once every 3 months if we're lucky. Right. So we try. But and then every time we come on, we have 2 hours of updates to give everybody.
We feel terrible. We would love to get to weekly because Adam and I
used to
it's our first love, man.
Right. Well, we both used to do weekly podcasts.
Yeah,
sometimes multiple in the same week.
So it takes this artist from Los Angeles to motivate you guys.
It does.
Whatever it takes.
Yep.
Fear no podcast.
Fear no podcast. Exactly.
I love it.
Truer words than spoken.
The thing I want to jump into is this is Andre Miripolsky, and as you can see up above them, he is the one that painted 10 different skateboard decks for Skate Ohio, the nonprofit, so that we can raise money. So that gives us the opportunity to build skate parks, give boards to people who can't afford them, put on events like we're putting on the next 2 days. Well, from where we're live on Thursday,
right?
Tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, we are doing big events. We'll get into those later.
Yeah, the events are just a little kind of break the fourth wall. Is that what they say?
Yeah.
The events are costing us close to $1,000 to do, which is probably more. But this is why we need funding and stuff like that. But we do it for you guys, and that's all that really matters.
Adam and I make nothing off this podcast. You know what we do? When we do events and stuff, the nonprofit pays for our lunch.
Yep, that's about it.
That's what we get.
For our 13-hour day, we get a $4 Wendy's meal.
Yes, a $4 Wendy's meal, or
that's about all we take.
For Maple Lake Park, I got Poncho's Nachos.
Yep.
I felt like I deserved a $7.23.
The occasional nachos. Red Bull, because I'm an addict.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Things to help us do these things.
Cheers.
But
well, you're making me feel like I really deserve to do this funding of these
it's amazing. It helps us a lot.
And it is so beloved. But yes, so Andre Miripolsky is here. We'll get to look at these decks in a little bit. But first, I really want to hear Andre once again. But for Adam and I, we've heard it before, but we absolutely love it. But Andre, could you please fill us in on your story? How did you, where did you come from? How did you become an artist? Where are you currently located? How did all of this come about?
Well, I'll tell you, man, it's a big story. It's a long story now. And I was fortunate enough, my first 18 years, I started painting when I was 8 years old. And my father was an artist. And so that's how I picked it up, because he had a studio and canvas. And so it was there for me instead of having a
What kind of artwork or what medium were you in?
He did non-objective, expressionistic, just color and action.
Sure.
No actual.
Kind of abstract a little bit.
Abstract.
Yeah.
Totally abstract.
Nice. Okay.
Right. And that was his style. But he was an art teacher in Los Angeles, and then he and my mother, they went to Paris in the early 50s, Americans in Paris, to do art in Paris. And he had a child, me, and a wife, so he had to get a day job too.
Okay.
And
I hate those.
Yeah.
Right?
I hate those.
You know how much work we could get done if we could just do what we love?
No,
right.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I haven't had one of those in 43 years
Let's
now.
go.
Lucky.
Yes.
So I've been fortunate.
I went to mine about 24 hours ago.
Yeah, well, there we
I
go.
called it. We talked at like
I'm a lot
7
older
p.m.
than
last
you.
night,
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm still at work, like
It was.
trying to
I felt so
in
bad.
Dublin, but anyway, continue.
Dublin?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he joined the American Foreign Service in Paris, and that was when the American State Department was really ramping up after World War II and becoming, because America was the only one surviving like the way it did
Sure.
after the war. So I started with him, and I grew up. My first 18 years solid was overseas. So I was born in Paris, and I lived in France and Austria, Thailand, Indonesia, Korea, and Iran. Yeah.
And Iran. How long were you in Iran?
Too long. But I was there for about 2.5 years. That was
Wow.
a long time ago.
So how many languages are you able to speak?
Poorly English. Yeah,
That was a long
that's
time ago,
about it,
DJ.
yeah.
Sure.
The language thing is, since I lived in so many countries, it was always having to, every 2
Yeah.
years or something, have
Yeah.
to make new friends, new language, new culture, new everything. So that's partly how art for me became my consistent thing through living overseas and growing up like that. The one thing I could always count on was myself, not knowing my own language. That through art, being able to produce some kind of art for myself, I was able to function and that
To express yourself, really,
and that
you
was
know.
that exactly, and that
Yeah.
was the common thread through all those different cultures that I grew up in.
Did any of with all of the different countries that you've mentioned, did you pick up pieces? Like, did you see other artwork in there?
I did. I did I think in a major way. All of that time, because my parents being artists and being sensitive people and everything, I feel. I mean, I did not major in art. I went to Cal Arts in Los Angeles.
Okay.
But I majored in theater. I wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
And when I came to California, Hollywood, of course, to make it whatever as an actor, I in the 70s, I did do a lot of Shakespeare. I
Really?
did 6 years of repertory theater. By the time I was like 25, I'd done like
A lot of memorization and
a lot
stuff.
and honest to God, I don't even know how I ever did it.
What
I don't
did
know.
you have a favorite at that time?
What, a favorite Shakespearean?
Yeah, that you were performing.
Well, my favorite Shakespearean role was I did Edmund in King Lear, which I thought was a really good thing. But the biggest role that I played in Shakespeare was Leontes in Winter's Tale, which is a really, really difficult part because the guy starts off, he's a king,
Sure.
and he starts off crazy from the very top, and it's really hard
To get to that place at the beginning.
from the very beginning.
Yeah, I could see
Wow.
that.
Keep that
You got to
through.
like hype yourself up backstage, probably.
And that really, really, really takes
Yeah.
a very knowledgeable actor.
Yeah.
And I think that part really kind of gave me a nervous breakdown, and
Oh my
I
gosh.
went back to painting because I remember my whole identity from high school and before, I sold my first painting at 10 years old to the
No way.
to the American ambassador in Indonesia, and it was a really good painting.
Okay, wait. That sentence is wild.
Yeah.
So a 10-year-old Andre
Right,
painted what was the painting of?
man. It was an erupting volcano.
Of course.
As
of course.
as a symbol,
As a
thing,
10-year-old
yeah.
would do. Yep.
An
Yeah.
erupting volcano. And how did this ambassador see it and then be like, I have to have this? And I'm curious as to like what something a 10-year-old sells goes for.
Well, that's a great question, and I do think that I sold it. I think for $10.
Yeah.
Ooh, dude, that's big money
So
for a
that was a
10-year-old.
long
that's
time
actually
ago.
very funny because when I grew up, I've like lost it all now, but I wanted to be an artist as well. And I remember, when you're 5 or 6 or something, you sell it for $1 and it's awesome. But then by the time I was like 8 or 9, I thought I was like really good, and I started selling them for like $30 and $40
Right.
to just my parents' friends, and a couple of them actually bought them.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
this moment is making me think back on like
That's so funny.
what did I do
What
to
could you-
these people?
Well,
Could've you
here
stuck
I am,
with
all
it?
these years later, giving it to you.
Oh wow, yeah.
Right?
There we go.
Yeah.
Here
Yeah.
we go.
Right.
Dude, weirdly
That's so
full circle.
funny.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
So my identity has always been through the art. In high school, I was like the star artist, and I was
Sure.
council president. I was successful in high school and all that. But it was always, my identity was always really about the artwork. From from 10 years old. It was that was always there. So it is. And in high school, one of the biggest reasons I wanted to be an actor was just because of the collaborative situation which acting is. You have to work with people. You can't just do it by yourself.
Right.
You know, in your own room and everything.
Right.
So I felt that being an artist could be a very lonely job, endeavor. And I thought it was important to be around other people and communicate with other people. Yeah. So that was a big motivating factor for me wanting to be an actor. And ironically, my life has become exactly from high school what I was thinking, because being a self-involved artist, it can be a lonely thing, but I really enjoy it.
When you hop out into the sunlight, you see all the people that praise you and your art and stuff like that.
Well,
too,
at least enough to motivate me to stay with it.
Yeah.
What have you done like collaborative pieces?
Well, I think it's interesting you say that, and that's why I still feel that collaboration is one of my stronger features, and I don't consider myself really a commercial artist. Where I can create imagery or branding or whatever for different companies, anything. Even though, you know, I really don't really feel I've done really commercial work, but people could interpret it as being kind of commercially or whatever.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Because those kinds of commercial situations that I've gotten into, or they've gotten into me over the years, they've all been things that I've really been interested in doing with, working with. And I feel like the selling out thing or whatever that is.
I was actually going to bring that up too, just because like usually when I think of like commercial work and advertising and stuff,
right?
The sellout term comes when somebody's not doing their style and just doing it whatever is needed to make the paycheck,
right?
And I think everything I've seen you do, it is very clearly your style and what you want to do,
right,
and things like that. And I think that makes the difference, even though it could be for a corporation.
Right.
It's still yours.
I'm doing it for myself.
Exactly.
And doing it for myself happens to match what the client wants.
Right.
Sure.
So that's where I've been really lucky that way. And that's been a kind of a really consistent thing. It's amazing to me that at this stage of my game, up until this point, doing the skateboards, which I include. The skateboards are really an art form unto themselves, and I'm not doing it for a client necessarily, really. But I put it in there, and I don't want to jump too far ahead. But at this exact same time in my life now, doing this suite of these skateboards, I was also right after the skateboards, and the skateboards were kind of the energy that led me into this other big project of doing a portrait of Elton John.
That portrait,
which is a really big portrait. It's literally 8 feet by 10 feet, and it's a portrait of him interesting enough, without actually painting his face.
Right.
It's his body, it's his back. Because I designed this costume that he wore in the Central Park. It's 45 years this year, but in Central Park he did a free concert in 1980 with an audience of about 500,000 people live, and I think it is looked at as one of his best concerts in his career. It's all on YouTube.
When I bring that up, a lot of people are like, "That concert?"
Right.
So like
everybody knows
it's
that.
known.
No, everybody knows
known.
that concert.
Right.
And that costume is kind of like a mega famous.
Well, and that's what I was going to say too.
But I wanted to say when the whole story, which I'll be repeating for the other podcast for that guy that was there today on promoing. I did all these. I did 7 outfits, and I did all the drawings overnight, like in 27 drawings overnight. But when I actually was doing the piano key costume, which was the only one of the outfits that I designed, which was how do I say it? More realistic, because all the other ones were all like just non-objective color and action. But the piano key outfit had
a theme.
It was a piano key. But while I was actually doing that costume, and I was a big fan of Elton John. This is 1980, but I was a big fan of Elton John's in 1980. And when I was doing that piano key outfit, I remember this, man. I really remember this, because I feel that I put my soul into that thing, because I was doing that costume for me. You know, I was doing that costume for me.
Sure.
And if I was Elton John, which I would love to be,
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah, wouldn't we all? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I did that costume as a power outfit, like as a warrior, as a musical warrior outfit. That if I was Elton John on that stage, and because of my classical theater training as an actor, which in Shakespeare, it's Costume City.
Yeah.
And I played a lot of kings in Shakespeare. So I was very aware of big time costuming thing.
Right.
And getting that gig, because that Elton John costume gig is the only time I've ever done costumes in my life.
We were talking about this earlier,
Amazing.
and that just
Yeah.
blew my mind.
It blows my mind.
I wanted to bring up too, and I don't know if this has ever crossed your mind or anything, but like BJ said, that concert is, you know, I mean, everybody that's an Elton fan knows that concert.
Big time, right.
And to me, obviously I wasn't there, I wasn't born yet, but
Was that
to
in
me,
the other big one was like what, Shea Stadium? Is that
Dodger
one where he has
Stadium.
Dodger Stadium?
1975,
excuse me,
right.
75.
but what I was going to say is, I think obviously Elton's phenomenal and it's one of his best sounding concerts
Right.
and stuff like that, but you can't dismiss that costume is part of why it's so big.
No,
You can't dismiss that.
no, honest to God, Elton was really lucky. I was really lucky. He was really lucky. Because the story of that, the reason I got this gig was because he already had all the costumes for that tour, but he didn't like them. So my getting involved was absolutely at the last second. And that they were literally, and they were all embroidered, which was a big, as it turned out, that was a biggie. Because I was, all night long while I was doing these drawings, all I was thinking about and stressing about was how do I put my artwork on a fabric that's going to show up in at least a 50,000 seat venue? Because I'm thinking,
Right.
if I'm going to paint it on fabric, I mean, it's going to be lightweight. It's going to disappear with lights and stuff. So I'll tell you the story. So literally 2 weeks before that gig came into me, I lived in an area in Los Angeles at the time called Silver Lake, and I was walking my dog with my ex-wife. We were walking the dog, and this guy came up to me in the street and he introduced himself and said he was a big fan of mine. This is like 1980, and he's a big fan of mine, and that he owned an embroidery factory, and he thought my stuff would look really good in embroidery. And it's like, who doesn't like embroidery?
Right.
So I thought, oh yeah, great, I like embroidery, but I didn't have anything at the moment. So cut to exactly like 2 weeks later, I'm up all night doing these drawings, just automatically doing these drawings. And all I'm worried and stressing out on is how do I put these on fabric that'll really show up? And the messenger was picking up the drawings the next morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. So that all had to be done by 10 o'clock in the next morning. I had to have the act together on that. So all of a sudden, I'm doing them, and the light bulb goes off, and I remembered that embroidery guy. And I just thought of the embroidery because of the thread, that it would be on the surface
Right.
of the cloth, so it would be more opaque. It would show up better. But what I didn't know until after the fact, way after the fact, well, when I saw the first time I saw the piano outfit in Time magazine the next week.
Sure.
So it turns out that embroidery thread not only is opaque, but it's all satin. It's all basically metallic thread.
Huh.
So when you put like large areas of that thread, it doesn't absorb any light.
It reflects.
It reflects the light
Yeah.
back into the camera.
Oh.
So that's what made it. And that's why
Yeah.
I always say it's always at the end of the day, man, it's always about the photograph. That's what's
Yeah.
always, the documentation is what's always remembered from everything.
That's wild.
Yeah. So those costumes and that piano key in that setting, and even the stage set was like this modernistic, everything about it was like the perfect thing. And nobody had ever done, by 1980, he's already like a major superstar with zillions of costumes,
Sure.
but nobody did a piano outfit.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like the Piano Man. I mean, just kind of crazy. So when I came up with the piano outfit, and it happened to get to him the night before the New York concert, and at the time I didn't know about the New York concert, so that happened to get to him the night before, because otherwise he would have had this other spandex cowboy outfit.
Would it have to have been like hemmed, or did you have his sizes? How did you?
No, all of that, sure. Well, I didn't do the actual the story is, I was like a subcontractor. because a friend of his was a clothing designer in Los Angeles, who I also knew too. And so he went to this guy at the last minute and asked him if he'd like to do something. And I had what I consider to be my breakout show on Melrose, which is a very fashiony street in Los Angeles. And I had a show in this Steps into Space Gallery in 1980, which Elton came to about 2 months before, because somebody said he should go, and he came. And
Dude, does he just randomly go to like art shows that?
well,
we don't
I guess
know about,
somebody, a friend of his recommended, and I guess he did in that situation. And I happened to be there. Thank God, I happened to be there because he came, and this place is a combination, like a custom shoe store and gallery, and the shoes were like kind of therapeutic shoes. And they're like made on your feet, and you have to sit there for 2 hours while the shoe is molded on your foot. And then I painted the shoe. So Elton came in to get a pair of these shoes. So he had to sit there for 2 hours. So he was a captive audience for 2 hours. And luckily, I knew enough about, like, again, another serendipity thing. I had seen this. I think he was like the first Western rock musician to go to Russia to do a show in Russia. And that was in 1979. And he went, and they made a special out of it with just him and this percussionist. Oh my God, what's his name? Oh my God, I've just gone up on his name.
It'll come to
Well,
you.
anyway,
Yeah.
This percussionist is a brilliant percussionist. He can make anything sound and make it to a beat. Oh my God. Well, anyway, I remember.
I think BJ's going to try to find it for us.
Yeah,
If we can.
that's right. You can find it. But anyway, so I had just seen this special.
Ray Cooper?
Ray Cooper, exactly. He's absolutely incredibly brilliant. So I exactly. Thank God for the technology. No memory or all memory. So I just
Only Shakespeare in the memory.
Only Shakespeare,
Yeah.
exactly. I remember all that stuff. But so I just seen that. So I was extremely impressed with that show, and I had that to talk to. So anyway, so then when the costume thing came in, this guy, Bruce Halpern is his name, and he asked Elton. He said, "Well, how about if I get Miripolsky to do artwork on the cloth?" And Elton, yeah, great, sure,
Oh my God.
yeah, why not? So I did. So that happened, and literally these costumes were going out to him. I don't know what service they had back in 1980. It might have been UPS. I don't know.
United Parcel Service has been around a long time.
A long time. So they literally were going out to him as they were finished in the factory. Because I would be in the factory with the Guatemalan women or whatever, with showing machines and saying this line's bigger and this one's this way and
Oh
this
my
one's that way.
gosh.
Yeah. So that one costume got to him for that show the night before.
That's
because
crazy.
as a stylistic and for the TV special, with half the show, it was a 2-act show. And half of it was he was in this other Bob Mackie outfit, which was a spandex cowboy outfit for the first act. And when they made a TV special out of the whole show, they only had a couple numbers from the first act. It was basically the whole second act, which was the piano outfit.
Yeah.
And then the other famous one from that show was the Donald Duck outfit, which was silly, but at least it made a statement.
Yeah.
And that's why in the painting I have a Donald Duck doing his thumbs up. So
That's
gotcha.
I'm giving a
why I
nod.
was wondering
That's
that.
why. So the people, the fans, which are that can be kind of zealoty, but they get that
Yeah,
reference, and
that's
they all are very
amazing.
appreciative about that thing. So why did I bring this up again? So it's about whether the point is whether it's a skateboard or it's a rock star's costume. It's my application of my
Of course,
artwork
yep.
onto another surface,
Right.
and to liven it up. So it certainly worked for Elton.
Right.
I think it could certainly work for the skateboards.
Agreed. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Very good. Right.
Yeah, I brought it up on here
Right
just
on.
so people can kind of see it.
Right.
But this is the outfit that Andre has designed with the piano on the hat.
Right.
Do you know where that particularly is? Because I got to go to the Rock Hall again recently with my
That's
my
so
son. Look at that.
amazing.
Right.
Oh, hold on. Let's
Right.
go. Oh goodness.
Well, and through Angelo, I got this commission to do this big painting, and the woman, she's involved somehow with the Rock and Roll Museum. Over
Oh,
here.
really?
Okay.
And so the plan potentially is to donate the painting
Oh
to
man.
the rock and roll with the museum, but then also the drawing of the drawing that I did for the costume, which I sold to a fan about 3 years ago, but we don't know where the costume is because he auctioned it off.
Dang.
He had a big auction. He decided this was in the '80s in his drug, sex, and rock and roll era.
Sure.
And so he had a big auction. He sold everything, and so I think we're going to investigate where it's at now.
Right, try to find it.
So
Absolutely.
as a package to get it donated to the
That's
costume,
amazing.
Man.
drawing, and the painting.
That would be so cool.
That would be great.
I mean, we would gladly donate one of these too.
Oh, to sit with that?
You know?
Are you
I mean,
kidding me?
yeah, right.
Oh my goodness! Like I love rock and roll. I grew up with it all,
Right.
and I find all of those things fascinating. I make my children. We have once a month we sit and we only watch concerts.
Oh, wow.
Concerts from back. I make them watch like Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Right.
We watch like the Black Crowes. We watch
yeah.
all these different bands. I try to
Right.
get them to understand and appreciate different genres and all of those things. They know Elton John well, and how I had to explain you to them. And I'm like, they know Elton John, and they're like, why do we know that name? And I'm like, well, there's these songs. They're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, the thing you know it from that we've watched the most is the Muppets. When Elton John was on the Muppets and
Right.
Crocodile
Very
Rock and all
funny.
those things.
Very
My
funny.
wife and I are huge Muppets fans. We had a Muppet themed wedding.
Right.
So like my kids have watched the Muppets since young, but there's an Elton John episode. So
Right.
it was just kind of cool.
But don't forget, he also did The Lion King too.
Also, duh.
Right.
No, that was
So
Phil
that
Collins.
so that's
I'm
where
trying to think of the
he's
other ones.
bridged many generations now.
So many.
So many. Right.
and so have you. I mean,
Well,
and,
it seems so.
and
yeah.
I do want
I
to.
wish I had his money though. That's the
Right.
only thing.
Same.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I wish I had his title. I want to
I
be a
do
sir.
wanna-
Right. I wish I could play the piano like that.
Oh,
Right,
come
right.
on.
Yeah.
Can I ask? Does everybody have a favorite Elton John song?
No,
Probably.
You don't-
I know Rocket Man.
Okay, you know that
I
song.
know the hits, but
Well, my
I-
favorite song is "Take Me to the Pilot." It is my
Right.
absolute favorite song.
You
If
said
I
that. You told me that. Yeah.
if I could bang that out on a piano, I've looked it up and I can kind of do that. But the intro to "Take Me to the Pilot" is the greatest. Chat if you have a favorite Elton John song, make sure you let us know.
Yeah,
go.
and
But "Take Me to the Pilot" is I think his best song. But that's just me.
He grew up with rock. Obviously, I did too. But I think my parents listened to like a different version. Like I got Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath, and my mom loved Cher and things like that.
Sure.
But there wasn't much Elton played. But obviously on the radio and all like everything like that, like
Right.
the talent is amazing. But I
Well,
want to get to the decks in a minute. But I wanted to ask you because we were talking about spanning generations and. You've been doing this. I heard earlier for 57 years is what I heard, doing art and stuff like that.
I know it's more than that.
It's wow. I mean,
Especially if he sold his. If he's technically an artist when you sell your first painting at 10.
At 8.
True.
No, I sold it at 10, but I've been painting seriously.
Since
I painted that
8.
painting at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Wow.
did 2 paintings back to back at 8. I still have the other one, which I think is as good as anything I've ever done. Still.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
And yeah, but I have a record of my artwork since a teenager.
well,
and all
that is
stuff.
what I wanted to ask too, because
It's the only
what-
consistent thing I've really done. in my life.
what do you think is it might be hard to pick one, but like your top couple things that you've created over the last 40, 50
Well, that's-
years
that's
and
a
stuff
good
like that.
question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. It's one thing. Well, I think that Elton John costume is kind of.
I knew that would be
Sure.
up there.
That's
yeah.
gotta be one.
It's-
If you had to
yeah.
pick another,
Just one thing. One
yeah.
thing. Yeah, that
But
would be
yeah,
one
just your
thing.
top couple, just to give people maybe something to look up and get a better idea.
Well,
of
the
your
other
style.
the other thing is my phrase,
Yep.
"Fear no art."
yeah.
Yeah.
And the plug that I did for this "Fear no art" phrase, which I did on its own, and very shortly after I came out with this, it's a phrase, "Fear no art," and I have a kind of a male looking figure. It's just a face of a profile, and he's kind of screaming out in a
that one right there.
Yes,
the one
that's
right above us.
in a
Yep.
word bubble. "Fear no art,"
Yep.
over there.
and
That's our joint logos together.
Yep.
just after the first place that I released that was in Paris. just by chance that I went to a wedding in the south of France, and that was the first time I'd been back to Paris. I landed there the night of my 33rd birthday. And so I did that. I was giving out buttons, and there was an English magazine called Passion. That's kind of like, what's that? In New York. Oh, shoot. The Andy Warhol Museum. Interview magazine, kind of in that genre, and they had Fear No Art as a theme for that issue. And when I came back to the States from that wedding, within a 12-hour period back, I fell asleep on the wheel of my car, and I was almost killed in a really it was really a bad car accident.
It's terrible.
So, but honestly, that all worked out miraculously well, and I didn't have insurance or anything. But circumstances, that's another whole story. But circumstances, this is what I look at as a truckload of miracles on that one. But so when I came through it, and while I was coming through it, somebody had turned me on to this artist, Frida Kahlo. I don't know if you've ever known of her.
I do not.
But she was a brilliant artist. She was married to Diego Rivera, who is like a major Mexican muralist. And they were like a golden couple in the day.
Yeah.
They were like it. And she was in a really, really bad streetcar accident in Mexico City when she was younger. It really screwed her up big time. And to such a degree that she was bedridden for a long time. So she made, in her subjects of her paintings were portraits of her, that she had a mirror on her canopy bed. And that inspired her to do these portraits. And they're, I mean, she's beyond
Right here, yeah.
Well, yeah, and her paintings are major blue chip artwork, and so she made her artwork all about her physical plight, and so I thought, here I am as an artist, and I'm having this life experience, which is very dramatic and everything. And this was 1984, when in the early 80s.
Good year, as the year I was born.
Oh, perfect, man. Well, for me, from 1980 to 84 were like really big years. Like I had a solid run of one big thing after
Boom,
another.
boom, boom, boom.
So I'd go out to Paris, and I landed on my 33rd birthday, and I thought, wow, I'm really king of the world and everything. And I got too much into myself or something, and I wasn't really listening to myself, and I fell asleep. Sleep can kill. If you go to sleep in the wrong place.
Right.
For sure.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, so I while I could get into a wheelchair, I documented this life experience with drawings and a kind of a collage drawings. I call them visual poems, and they're loaded with word bubbles and thought bubbles and jingles and jangles of kind of a haiku. Haiku.
I knew exactly what you meant.
Yeah, a haiku thing, but with illustrated haikus. And the name of this manifesto, which is actually Angela and myself were potentially interested in approaching somebody in Ohio, because I've kept all this artwork. I've never sold anything from this collection. I've always kept it as a collection for nonprofit kinds of venues, like a museum or an arts center, something like that. And the full title is Fear No Art, A Crash Course in Reality. And so I would say that Fear No Art plug has been used by the government, against the government. It's ran such an incredible gamut of politics and everything.
I was going to say, I know Bill Clinton wore one of the pins.
Somebody gave him a button, and they ran that when he was running for president. I don't know, like a Sunday newspaper, and it ran on hundreds of Sunday newspapers or something.
Wild.
And it was used against the government when there was a Piss Christ thing at the Chicago Art Institute, and it was used against that. And so I would overall, I'd say the Fear No Art for my own thing, because I'm an artist. I did. I'm the only another big showbiz claim to fame, because for me, the music business, I've done a lot of things. I did a major deal for Bette Midler, Quincy Jones,
Saw those.
Cheap Trick.
Rolling Stones.
Yeah, it goes on. But really, a big music thing credit that I did on, because I'm the only one that got this gig, because I don't think it ever will happen again. But on the Tonight Show, I got a gig to do. I did a whole body of work on the Tonight Show for floors and backdrops for the music segments of the show, and I did this collection, and it was used from like 1997 to 2004, but about 200 Tonight Shows in that period.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't know if I've specifically gotten. It's been a generic. Yeah, there's a shot, and I don't know if I've really gotten one specific gig out of all this, but generically I did. But because of the Tonight Show, my stuff was on all kinds of music.
That's amazing.
The whole genre.
Yeah, I mean, you would be broadcasting, like to your point,
So cool.
every type of band, every type of artist there.
It was.
Yeah, and it's always
Right.
with this backdrop. That's crazy.
Right.
That's awesome.
And that wasn't when Johnny Carson. That was after Johnny. That was
Jay Leno,
Jay
I think, is
Jay
what
Leno.
it said.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's awesome.
So cool.
So that's why getting back to the skateboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I always loved just the shape of the skateboard. That did it for me. And I was thinking about, I've told you guys and everything, but I was thinking for years about doing something with a skateboard, something. So that's why when this opportunity came in, even though it's a donation thing, I was really I really thought the idea was a great idea.
Well, and yeah, I do want to let people know too, like people that have been following the journey for the last like 9 months or whatever it's been.
6 months.
Oh, it's been longer than that. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I think Angelo contacted us at the end of August.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. That's longer. You're right.
We're
But where I
close to a
actually
year at this
started,
point.
I started
Right.
like in January.
Right.
Yeah,
We had a lot of things to figure out too,
Right.
but I wanna let people know that didn't know it was originally supposed to be 6 decks.
Yeah, that's what we sent.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 6, and then
Because that
you
was
know,
when we were like, sure, dude, whatever. I'll send you these 6 decks that I just have laying back here.
Right.
right.
And you know what? If it's fake, because it felt so
it
wild.
felt too surreal.
We're like, sure,
like,
dude,
Right.
whatever. But
Right.
just
if
to
it's
fall in our laps.
No,
It's like
I know.
from where I live, and it just happens to be the guy across the street.
Right.
And it's like,
See, you have to live in Hollywood.
right.
Because-
We figured that out.
Because
We figured that out.
So much of Hollywood
Yeah.
is things coming out of the
Yeah.
blue. And I
Yeah.
feel like a big part of my whole career and life has been out of the blue.
Yeah.
I mean, like that whole Elton John story is completely out of
Right,
the blue.
right.
And that is all about serendipity, or it's
Yep.
about being prepared
Right.
when opportunity knocks.
Right.
And that was
gotta
like,
go, baby.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
And that's where I have been successful at
Yeah.
out of the blue stuff.
Sure.
And being able, but it's being able to perform. It's being able to
Exactly.
dance on a dime kind
Right.
of thing.
But yeah,
Exactly.
the boards were supposed to be 6, and then I don't remember what it was, but you got into like the 3rd or 4th or whatever, and you're like, I need more.
Right.
And we're like, wow. Like,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
go then. Yeah.
Well, once I believe in something, I can become obsessive about it.
Yeah.
So here's what we're gonna do. I am going to change the camera angle to you guys. I'll come over and I'll hand you the decks, and then I want you to explain. Hey, this is the deck. Here was my inspiration.
Yep.
Just quickly, we'll go through each deck so that people can kind of see them. The camera's directly in front of you here, so you can kind of
Okay.
flip and show. I'm gonna move that over, and I will be there in a second.
But yeah, this just gives everybody who wasn't at the unboxing today the ability to see each deck. This one is BJ's favorite.
My favorite.
Right.
And just a reminder, the QR code
Whoop.
in the episode, either prior to this or after this, is to win this deck in a raffle. $20.
There we go.
And it's an original Miripolsky, and it's insane. But
Right.
go ahead.
And it's comprised. I've been developing. Well, let's say 2 characters. I've been developing these wiggly line shapes, which I call squiggles. And the squiggles are a stream of consciousness drawing, meaning that I just start doing a squiggle, and I cannot stop until I finish a shape, and continuing to do more shapes as fast as I can, because the idea is that I don't think about it. I can't think about it because I feel if I think about it, it can be
Right.
it can stop, and I don't want it to be stopping. I want it to be completely fluid. So that's my own personal structure that I've created for myself to make it exciting. So the other image and iconic image that I've been developing for several years now is the shark. I call these the great white sharks, and they're wearing sunglasses, and they all have the same kind of smile. Because I was inspired by, there's a movie and a book called Swimming with the Sharks, which is about the inside of Hollywood, the business of Hollywood, the agents and managers, and they're kind of not slimy, but they're edgy, and so I thought that's kind of an edgy attitude. So that's why all these sharks have an attitude, where they're in sunglasses and the smile, and so this one in particular, jumping out or popping out of a Jack in the Box, ha ha ha, with a symbol. He's holding another Jack in the Box in his fin with a peace symbol, and his Jack in the Box, his box that he's jumping out of, has a mushroom cloud in it. So this one to me is kind of a statement, a sardonic statement on our human condition, with the threat of nuclear. And me being from the '60s, the nuclear annihilation thing has always meant something. So I wanted somehow to include that, but make it humorous and light, in a certain way. So
that's amazing.
So that's why this is one of my favorite ones, and I love the attitude. And
my favorite for sure.
Yeah, BJ's favorite, definitely.
That is the first one I'm buying. I need an 875 or 9.
Yeah.
Well, you have to make a bid. You'll have to make a bid. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So on all these decks, I paint a surface first, which takes about 5. It takes 5, or there's a coating, a white coating underneath the colors, but in total there's about 5 or 6. Every color you see on these has been done like 5 or 6 times. So they are labor intensive. The squiggles go down really fast, but the painting, it is labor intensive.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then
turn it around, and on all of them, I love Skate Ohio's logo, and I felt that logo would work really well with the design of this squiggle design. So I included the logo on every.
All of these are double sided too, which obviously
they're
make
all
it
double-sided.
twice as labor intensive.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
But I wanted to. If I'm doing it, I want to do the whole thing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is a fun one too. These are hammerhead sharks. It's the only hammerhead sharks I've done, without sunglasses, obviously. And this is a lot of fun. I have some day glow colors in here, and they're skating on day glow decks, and I think they have a really funny attitude.
Yeah.
And that's also something for me as an artist. I feel that humor is very important. I mean, I think humor is very important in life in general. Very important.
I have an interesting theory about that. I don't know if you want to hear it, but
sure.
why I also think, comedy and joking and all that is one of the most important things ever.
I think it's dramatically important.
It's an interesting theory, and it's just a fun one. But I think it's so important, and it's obvious that it's so important, because if you think of every animal that's ever existed, they want to play, with each other, with siblings. And so that's a through line through every species on the planet, is your instinct is to have fun with each other. And it's like, I just, to me, it's like, we don't relate to alligators that much, but even alligators play with each other. You know what I mean? And it's just like an interesting through line.
In that regard, and I'll just go back to I was talking about my childhood and growing up the way I did and everything. So growing up all over the world the way I did, and growing up mostly in third world countries, especially in the 50s and 60s, where as an American, I say that I grew up with a pewter spoon in my mouth, because I grew up with servants till I was like 18, chauffeurs and servants. But my father was on a stateside, middle class salary, but the dollar, went way longer overseas than here. So the one thing that I really, because of my parents, and obviously I had this incredible art education just by osmosis being there, was that culture in all these countries that I lived in, and most of them were at least 1,000 years old, or way older than the United States, But it was like 3% super rich, like really, really, really rich, and then 97%, especially like American standards, poor, and they out of that maybe a small percentage middle class kind of thing. But the one thing that unified everybody were the arts. Was dancing, music, and they all had, in their cultures, they all had a golden era, of music, of dance, of art. So I really saw that art was not just a la-di-da thing. That's just a thing that people are frivolous and all that stuff. I saw it as really being a force.
Yeah.
And it could be a political force
Right.
for people. And I still totally believe that. And that's why I do believe in the power of arts.
Yeah.
And like, was it today? Or I just talked about that. You know, I muralized an entire high school, not elementary school, but a high school and middle school in Pomona, California. And people can check it out. Look up Pomona Copia, Pomona Copia. And that's the high school.
Oh, didn't you just post about that the other day?
Maybe I did,
or maybe
something.
Angelo did, but
Yeah, because
I saw that recently.
This school, and I think they have about 4 of these schools in LA County, but all of them, all 4 schools have a high school graduation rate of like 98%. Now the average high school graduation rate, I believe in California, is something like 75%.
Sure.
So I see that. I love that statistic because I see that. You know, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to be in the arts. You know what I mean? It's really about the most important thing about being an artist is, to me, is having a feeling, having a soul, having a feeling.
Yep.
That's the most important thing. And for better or for worse, it's something that you have to kind of really get, you know, by yourself.
right.
You know, you
Right.
can learn technique, but you can't learn soul.
Right.
And
What a great way to put it.
yeah, so that's where I feel that art is important, and it's really
Absolutely.
important for kids. And that's why, again, with Mansfield now, really coming up with how important art is for the community.
Absolutely.
And with Mayor Perry here, this is a big thing for her. And I would like to continue my relationship with Mansfield through the arts.
We would too.
So
Yeah, for
this
sure.
okay, this deck, I've got these guys there's 3 of them, the 3 Musketeers here. They're on the three decks, and again, well, actually, no, I don't have things. I don't. They're just dancing with canes, doing a classical kicking up their boots,
Like a kick line almost.
A kick. That's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
A kick line, right? There you go.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Was there any particular inspiration on the colors, the red, white, and blue, or was that just something that you threw together in that aspect?
That's a really good question. That was planned out. They're all planned out.
Yeah,
they're all
okay.
planned out. So I thought the kick line was kind of to me was an American-y thing.
Yeah.
That's why I did the red, white, and blue and the star and all that.
Okay, yeah.
So I wanted to do something that had some connection
Americana a
with
little
Americana
bit. Yep,
thing.
yep,
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, I'm doing 10 of these, so I've got to find
Find
I've
a
got to find
theme and-
because again, the most important thing here is that I'm enjoying it.
Right.
I'm doing again.
Yep.
It might be selfish and everything, but I'm doing this
Yep.
for me.
Well, and we
And then
wanted,
I just hope that other people do enjoy it too.
Yeah.
But I have to enjoy it.
Right.
For me to do it,
able to
I've got to
Yep.
I've got to get into it.
and we wanted to make a point too when this originally started, and obviously you would have went the same way, but we were just like full artistic expression. We don't want any
No, you
input.
guys were great that way.
You do
No,
everything.
you were great that way.
Yeah, you do
Absolutely.
everything you want to
Right.
do.
This is my wife's favorite.
But I love
The
this one
martini
too. I love
glass.
with the martini glasses, right? And this is a bull shark,
Yep. Yep.
which there are bull sharks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I made it. Yeah, literally, I love this one
It's
too.
interesting. I don't know if you know this, but the orange sharks at the top,
Tiger sharks,
obviously tiger sharks.
right?
The Mansfield mascot is a tiger.
Oh, huh.
So this one might. I'm kind of foreseeing if we make that connection, a lot of people in Mansfield would want this one as well.
sure.
Well, that's a funny bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's that.
And I like the color of that one. The
I
a
like the
good
color.
color.
I like the
Yeah.
colors too. I like the colors too.
All right, got the next one.
And this is a very fluorescent one.
Yep.
And this is my great white juggling for peace, which I think we can't get enough of, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yep.
Especially these days, man. We need all the peace we can
Absolutely.
get.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great color scheme
I-
in that one.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the composition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I put these figures. I put these figures in the middle, and so the squiggles, they actually have a lot of room. Because originally I was thinking of just doing the squiggles, but then I thought, oh God, I don't know, because they don't have a personality. They're too abstract.
Right.
I don't know. That could be weaker. So I really thought about putting a personality and not putting a human face on it, But you know, and I think these sharks definitely have. I think there's magic between the squiggles and the sharks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being on a skateboardy thing, there's something. Well, look at all the skulls you've got on on your skateboards and stuff.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
There's something about that imagery.
Yep.
The one thing, sorry, I got to get back to my microphone. The one thing that Caleb was pointing out to us is like how we cut our grip tape to go on the top graphic.
Right.
Just it'd be cool because like some people might cut their grip tape to frame out the two piece balls that are above the shark, or just the shark's mouth, or the top where the shark is got the binoculars.
Yeah.
You might cut your grip tape to specifically point to a piece of that. You might just want to see the yellow and red squiggles, and for your top graphic, you might see that.
Yeah,
And that
that's
could be
also
done, right? That
super
could
yeah,
be
people
done.
people do that all the time. I'm one of the few people that enjoy just black grip tape.
Right.
But I mean, quite literally, to BJ's point, your art is going to inspire other art on top of it, quite literally.
Right.
So you have like this is one of my old boards, but
That's a pretty standard cut that people do right
Right.
there.
cut at the bottom like that. But can you see the squiggles
Right.
Right,
in
through
that
there.
instead? Or
Yep,
somebody
and-
did it up here so they could see.
Well,
the
this is
shark
very
up here.
fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my intent here, these 10 boards are my first foray after all these decades of visualizing and fantasizing about it. So I'm really into working with you guys, and and customizing and what's this can be done into this and this is that. So this one I pretty much done on my own.
Yeah.
But I'm totally into working collaboratively again. Working with whatever is best for
Yeah.
the board.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm into that.
Great.
Everything you touch is the best for the board. So that's we can just establish that right now.
Right. Okay.
Whatever
good.
you want to do. Because I mean, to the grip tape point, people will do will cut their grip tape different ways and all
would think
this
so,
and
yeah.
do like a circle here and whatever they want to do to express themselves. So, I mean, all of this is going to look amazing.
But they can print on grip tape, right?
They can
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, you can print on top of it.
So
too,
I can do something that would graphically really work on something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
we
'cause
can-
It has little things in it and everything.
Making custom grip
So
tape is
this
actually
one-
pretty
this
easy.
is hard to see actually, but this is where the guy is got these flower glasses. This is supposed to represent me, an angel halo on the deck with a big paintbrush carrying the brush, and this is supposed to be a self-portrait of myself.
Yep,
That's awesome.
yep. And that's one that you're going to keep, right?
I believe I'm keeping this.
Yep,
one, right?
keep that one and the next one, which
Right.
obviously we'll know
my
the
Fear
significance
Noir,
of.
right.
The next one is my wife's second favorite.
And I
Yep.
sold one. I have to do another.
Yeah,
Fear
you
Noir
told
for
me that.
somebody,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that's
A
crazy.
client of mine. Yeah.
This was the last one made, I believe, right?
Maybe.
Or no, this was like the sixth one.
Or no, the 7th or 8th. Or
Something like that, yeah,
right.
okay.
Fear Noir, and this was that logo that I was talking about earlier, Fear Noir, which went out at the height of the Fear Noir thing. I had about 400 museums. Now they're all museum gift stores, but I had T-shirts and watches and magnets and all kind of merch. But in about 10 or 15 years, about 400 museums around the country.
That's crazy.
And and I got stuff from. In fact, one of my biggest things from that was the Chicago Art Institute.
yeah.
I got a big thing from that.
And I think just so people know, this one and the last one, like we said, you're going to keep those. So there are like going to be signed and numbered editions, but the originals are not on the raffle, just so you guys know. Because those are going to be kept for
bigger
historical, and things
Right.
like that for yourself.
Right. Okay, here we go with another trio, and these guys are skating for peace, for heart, and for stardom and
Okay,
energy.
I like it. Yeah.
I thought those were all
That's
good
awesome.
symbols
Yeah.
to aim for.
Yeah.
Another color scheme that I think is just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Where you got the blue, the red, and then like the turquoise, where those are squiggle-esque, but then the squiggles are on top of those. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You have very good taste, man. I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for saying that, because you're right.
I like the
I really is. Yeah, really, it's good. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I surprised myself too, and it's not like, man. So even though I've been doing this all my life, I have big insecurities and stuff too. You know, like
Most artists do. Yeah,
right,
most
right.
people do in general. Yeah.
So but honestly, I'm always surprised when things turn out like, and they do turn out. Once I apply myself, I tend to win, but I'm never for sure. So like for me to take on a project like this, it's not about the money.
Right.
It's about whether I can do it for myself.
Right.
Again.
It's the challenge.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
And I gotta really like it. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
I notice about this deck too is it is on the other ones, but this one with the color squiggle behind it is that it flows to, as you can see, it goes from this part where this actually seams into the squiggle on this and like comes back, so that it does that everywhere.
That's
And
awesome.
It's cool. It's not just
BJ.
this graphic. It's the way that it flows from top to bottom, back to top.
Yeah, I don't know.
What a guy. Thank you again so much, because you are 150% correct. That's totally conscious on my part.
Yeah.
On every one. That was
Yeah.
a conscious thing
I don't know if you
from one side. That's the
Yeah.
thing about doing two sides.
Yeah.
Was connecting the two sides.
Right.
So that was a major thank you very much for saying that.
I don't know if you've noticed
Wow.
in the last
That's pretty observant.
like 10 hours that we've actually like physically met. Me and him are very observant to all the details and things like that. We might not always point them out, but yeah, it's
But you couldn't see that until you saw the real thing.
Yeah,
You can't see. You can see that on
the pictures,
camera.
You could not tell
Right.
that.
You can tell that.
Right.
So you came up with that just today,
Yes.
since you've gotten these
Once
things.
we had them physically in our hands.
So thank
Yeah.
you. I mean,
This-
you got
this
a really
one
good.
here-
You got a good eye, man.
Same deal. Like I noticed.
Yeah, they
how
all
this
do it.
They
one
all do,
comes
they all
this
do.
way.
Yeah.
I know they all do it.
Right.
But this one kind of caught my eye specifically because I have painted more of my decks when I buy blank decks. I painted more of them gold than any other color because I just thought it was always so cool to skate a gold deck.
Right. And that's probably, yeah, I mean, as far as the base color, I think I like that one the second best. The next one is my favorite for sure. But the gold on this just looks so amazing.
Yeah, I love
It really
I love
does.
It does. It does metallic. They're all acrylic metallics. I can't get this thing is way down there. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the camera's over here, which is why, yeah,
Right.
it's
And this shark is saying, "I've got my eyes on you." So I don't exactly know what that means. I mean, it is abstract
open
art.
to
So it's yes,
interpretation.
no. They're balancing on each other for relationship.
This would be cool if when we print them, if we did it on a twin tail.
Oh, for sure.
So, Andre, the way that skateboards work is you have like a nose
Right.
and a tail. But there's boards called a twin tail where the tail and the nose are the same concave or the same
Same width, same
width,
everything.
same everything, because normally you have a difference in the top and the bottom, but they make decks specifically.
Yeah.
And some of those decks,
And
Adam had one.
what's the reason? Is there a reason for that?
Some
Just
people prefer them.
preference,
It's
yeah.
It's just a
them.
preference thing.
Yeah.
This design with the yes and the no, so that I can throw down
Yep, either way.
this way or
Basically-
this way, and it makes just as much sense.
Right, with the
this
graphic, because it
Right.
goes both ways. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I prefer to skate a twin tail just because I don't really care. You know, it's nice to be able to skate and not worry about which way your board's facing.
Right.
But if you ever watch, you know, anybody skateboarding, you'll
Competition
see,
skaters, like,
yeah, you'll see people pick up their board
So
and
you
switch
guys
it
do
around.
skate then, right? You skate. You both skate.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Right.
I just kind of cruise around at this point, but
Right.
this one is my favorite
Yeah, I
by
love this
far.
one, too.
I
I
just
love
love
this.
the colors.
Yeah, the colors, the rainbow colors,
Yep.
and the
Even in the
angel shark.
polka dots on the top.
And the heart, the big heart, is not too schmaltzy.
Yeah.
Because I'm worried about that.
No.
But it's not. It's making a good symbolic.
Right. And I believe this is the one that Angelo said we are keeping for like PR and stuff like that.
Okay, fine.
We'll have to double check with him, but that's
No,
definitely
that's
my
yours.
favorite.
That's yours.
Okay.
Right, I think that's yours.
Yeah.
This is gonna be in a lot of videos.
Yeah, and we're taking that everywhere and being like, look at this cool
Every
thing.
video, it's just gonna be us holding this.
Yep.
Right.
Just carrying it around everywhere.
Well, you carry them both on either side. It's like Moses. or
Yeah,
something.
there you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
the
Yeah.
tablets. The tablets.
Yeah.
That just makes me think of History of the World Part 1 with Mel Brooks.
There you go.
Yep.
I bring you these 15 commandments, crash. 10 commandments.
10 decks.
10 decks.
6 decks. 10 decks. We went reverse.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So fantastic. There you go. Those are the decks that you can bid on. Those are the original painted. And boy, howdy, when you feel them, you're just like, holy buckets, this is wild.
You can feel the texture, the weight. Yeah.
And you get to see those little details. And you can see those if you're watching live. You can come Friday, tomorrow, the 6th, from 5 to 9 p.m. They will be hanging to where you could observe them up close and personal at Richland Academy of the Arts. So tomorrow night, real quick, our event is from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. downtown Mansfield, Ohio, which is on 4th Street between Mulberry and Walnut. We will have vendors. We will have food trucks. All the businesses right there on 4th Street will be open, so you could patron them, and then there will be skateboarding as well.
Oh, and I think isn't it a Shop Hop Friday?
It is.
So,
It is a First Friday, so there's some other stuff going on downtown. The carousel partnered with us. The carousel will be there and running backwards.
Yeah.
So we're all excited to get on there and do that.
A little creative, yeah.
Yes, just to be fun. That's going to be really cool.
I'm excited to ride it backwards.
We're going to be there and do that.
Here's the question.
Sure.
Do you ride it and like forward, like the horse is facing, but go backwards, or do you turn around?
I think that's what they would expect you to do. I want to sit on the horse backwards.
Yeah, do you want to sit on it backwards and then you're moving forward, but the whole thing's moving backwards?
Yeah.
So which one are you going to do? Maybe both.
Right. Come on down and figure it out. It's going to be really cool. So that is our Friday.
And don't forget, I'm going to be performing.
That's paint with Andre.
So Andre, the man himself who painted all these boards, is going to be there. We're going to be in the Richland Academy of the Arts, where you can get a board and sit and paint with Andre. There's 2 1.5 hour sessions. Boards are $30. All that money goes to the nonprofit, so we can keep doing events like this. And you get to sit and paint with Andre. So
there's only I think 10 tickets left.
10 tickets left. If this is live and you're watching, you should really check that out. You can go to our socials, and the link to sign up for that is there. You can show up and do it at the event as long as we have some left. You can buy one right there and get in. We do have a couple people who have paid for a deck that if we end up close to the end where we have somebody who can't afford it, we do have a couple that are paid for that we can make it so that somebody can do that for free. But yeah, and the goal with this is to make this a fun thing for Richland Academy. We're planning to hopefully do this in the future and hopefully make it a free thing.
Andre's not going to be at those probably.
He will not.
So
he will not be at those.
Tomorrow is
back
important.
in LA.
That's why tomorrow is so important. You get to paint with the artist who did these amazing boards.
And he's gonna, if you would like, he's gonna paint actually on your deck with you, so that you can say,
I'm going to squiggle.
Yeah, the squiggles. Yeah, so you can say you physically painted this with Andre Miripolsky together. Not that he was just in the room and you painted with Andre. It's like, no, we collaborated on this one and we painted this one together. And that was your idea, and that's such a better idea, honestly, than just, being present. It adds another layer of how special these boards are.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Right on.
Fantastic. I'm going to turn that down.
Right on, bros.
See if this works.
Let's see if we can.
We got kind of a special thing here. We'll see if it happens. We have somebody who was a fan of yours that I got to
is a
show
fan
her.
of yours.
Is a fan of yours, and I would love for her to be able to come on here and ask you a couple questions that she wrote down. She is my niece. I'm trying to set it up so that we could talk through this so that she could ask you live, because I'm just super interested in what she has. There she is. All right, hold on.
Great. Hi there.
Let me turn her up and let me hit the right.
Nope, there we go.
It is. There you are. Hey, kiddo. How are you doing? Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hi there.
Can you hear us, kiddo?
Hello? Yes.
Okay, Lucy. This is Lucy McPherson. She is my niece.
Hello, Lucy.
I love her to
McPherson.
death.
Hello.
And she is a fantastic artist herself. And when I showed, I was so excited that when we first found out that you were coming to Mansfield.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, Lucy's going to be here. She comes here every summer. And she's like, oh, no, I'm coming later.
Oh, wow.
And I freaked out. I'm like, you're the only one in my family who cares. You have to be here.
Ah, fantastic.
So I told her, I'm like, well, the least I can do, Andre's probably going to be on the podcast. I'd love for you to come on the podcast and ask a couple questions if you had questions. So she's fantastic, an artist as well. I explained to Andre
Right,
that you do some
exactly.
jewelry. You've been doing jewelry and you do some anime style
Yeah.
artwork. So
I do sewing and
Yes.
I do
Embroidery?
yeah, I do embroidery
yeah.
because I run the costume department at my theater
There we
There
go.
you go.
at
Right.
school.
Yep.
Right on.
Yeah, like I head it.
That's fantastic,
and,
Liz.
What?
I said that's fantastic,
No,
kiddo.
we were talking about that earlier. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
exactly are you working on right now, Lucy? What's the artwork that you're working on currently?
What? It's really glitchy.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is the artwork that you're currently working on?
I'm working on. Oh, well, actually, I have a lot of different projects right now. I want to start making a dress for the Anastasia musical.
Are they
But,
doing that at school?
What?
Are they-
Not at my school.
Okay.
It's for kinda. It's for districts
Okay.
so that I can go to states. But right now, I'm working on. Wait, how do I flip my camera?
I don't know.
Can you see my camera?
I can see your camera, kiddo.
I can see your face.
Yes.
She can't see us because it's going through OBS.
Yes.
Oh.
So
I'm
Oh,
working
wow.
on like this.
That's cool.
Oh.
Wow. I do a lot of work online because I
Wow.
design costumes on here.
Right.
yeah, those look amazing.
Thank you. But that's the kind of art I do. But I also make jewelry, and I think that's it.
That's
I
cool.
think.
Well, what questions did you have for Andre?
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna ask, what's your favorite like type of art medium to work with?
You know, probably overall would be oil paints.
Oil
Even
paints?
I started painting with oil because that was way before acrylics were invented. But when my father came home one day with acrylic paints, it kind of changed my world. Basically, only because of
Clean up?
drying time.
Oh, drying time.
Right. Because in the old days, the oil paint could take a long time to dry. It was always about the drying. And with acrylics, like they would dry so fast, it was like unleashing me.
Is that
Yeah.
mainly on canvas then?
Yeah, on
with those?
canvas.
Sure.
But there are ingredients that you can add now to the oil painting
to dry
formula
quicker?
to dry quicker.
Sure.
But I didn't really get when I was so I would say oil painting probably.
Oil painting. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else, kiddo? Did you have any other questions for him?
How'd you become the first ever visual artist to be like commissioned for the Tonight Show? Like, how'd they discover you?
Well, that's a very good question.
She did her research.
She
I like
did,
that.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
I love it.
Well, it's the old adage of depends on who you know.
Yeah.
So I happen to know and be friends with an art director on the Tonight Show, and that was a particular time where they were competing in the slot when they would have bands on, and the set for the bands with David Letterman and the Tonight Show, and Letterman would have no sets. He it was the same set for every band, no matter what.
Just a standard.
A standard thing,
Regular set.
And the Tonight Show, they decided to try to do the sets to customize each set for each band that came on. So I became a part of that, and there's kind of an interesting story too, in that the producers had to go over the unions to get me to do this, and because all these sets and everything, they're done at NBC Studios. It's all
Right.
heavy duty.
Actors Guilds and
the unions.
yeah.
Yep.
So they came back to me, and the unions agreed to it, but to have me do this since I'm not a union member. But their only stipulation was that I had to sign my name on the front of the artwork, because to them that made it like fine art. Because people that do the sets, they don't sign the sets.
Oh, that's
So-
true.
So the producers made a case that they couldn't find anybody else like me. They wanted me, and since I was a fine artist and everything, and that is what made me a fine artist to them, was because it was simply signed.
Yeah, now it becomes a piece of art
Since it has
instead of just a
But
set.
guess what?
Yeah.
These were big pieces. The
Yeah.
backdrop pieces were like 18 by 28 feet long. The floors were masonite. They were like 4 by 8 foot sheets that were fit together, and that's a large size. And I can't sign my name like a little tiny thing on that kind of space.
Right.
It has to
has to be big. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It has to be.
So since
right
your
size.
name is in those specifically, do you get residuals or anything?
No,
from
no,
those?
no. There's no.
I wondered how
residuals.
that worked.
No,
Okay.
there's no residuals. Maybe there could be if it's in a contract, but nobody ever does that, so it's not going to be there. But there's a similar story to this signing my name on the thing. Back in '92, I believe, I painted or I designed, because a whole team actually painted physically, 6,000 square foot, the center basketball court at Pauley Pavilion at UCLA.
Oh, yeah.
For one game. It was a celebrity. Charity game with Hollywood celebrities and basketball celebrities called Rock and Jock B-Ball Jam. It was on for a couple years, and but the one I did was the most viewed show on MTV for 92, 93, and I did the design. Then it was done by art directors and whatever, because they graphed out the court and all that. But the last night, when nobody was really there, this is kind of bad, but nobody was really there, I decided that, this to me is like a big painting. And I'm not a commercial artist per se.
Sure.
So I decided I should sign my name on this thing. Well, it's just not done in the, in the business. And this is 6,000 square feet.
Right.
So guess what? My name was, kind of big. I mean, it wasn't kind of big. It was big, and you could really easily see it with Coca-Cola or with MTV or anything when they're running around. They're running all over my name and everything, but you could really see it. And I never worked for them again. I never did anything else for MTV again after that. And I think that was a reason. Wow. Because they came there, the whole thing is set, the set is done.
Yeah.
They're going to do the show that
gotta
night.
do it.
And there's a big Miripolsky there.
I mean,
yeah.
you can't blame
I
you.
didn't put it in the middle of the floor. I mean, I'm
You
still
tried to- yeah.
But it's still there, and people just don't do that. And
I love it.
no, I love it too,
awesome.
because in the long
Rebel.
run,
Yeah.
it's still on because of YouTube now. Anything you've ever done on television is on YouTube,
Right.
and so all those things, and I get this, I get this now as an adult, because where I live in LA in this creative community called the Brewery, we have these art walks twice a year, and we get about 10,000 people over a weekend. And every time I get somebody, you did that, because they're kids when they saw that show, when they were like a kid, but they never forgot it, because honestly, I don't know of anybody else that's done a full basketball, painted
Sure.
a full basketball court.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it.
Right. Yeah. So that's another one of those once in a lifetime
Yeah,
gigs.
and
today.
even now too, it's interesting. I know BJ doesn't watch basketball. Do you watch basketball at all now?
No, not really. No.
So it's interesting. I don't really watch it all that often either, but now there's not even logos on the floor. They actually do it like in
Digitally?
post. Yeah. It's like digitally.
Oh, digitally.
Yeah. So it's not actually there anymore. So sometimes they'll like
No,
run.
mine was really analog.
Yeah. But sometimes they'll like run over a logo and you'll see it like glitch for a second.
That's
You're like,
Right.
oh.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that'll never be done again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the Tonight Show was really good. They liked me, and they did this, and it lasted for about 7 years, 200 Tonight Shows. So in the entire history of the over 50-year history of the Tonight Show, it's never been done before, and it will never be done again.
Let's go.
But so that's something.
That's
amazing.
fantastic.
So
Miss-
thanks for asking that question.
Yeah, Miss Lucy,
That's
did
good
you
one.
have any other questions you wanted to ask Andre? No? Lucy,
was a good
thank
one.
you for coming on, and thank
Thank
you
you,
for
Lucy.
asking those
Thank you.
questions. And we'll make sure we'll have
And
some
keep-
stuff that you can see these things.
Keep fearing no art.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Keep up. We
Thank
love
you.
Keep
we
it up.
love it when you come and you show us your art and you do art while you're here. So we love you. We encourage you. Andre encourages you. Keep doing it, Lucy. We love
Right
you.
on.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye
you,
bye.
Lucy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Awesome.
So yeah, that was cool. We've never done that before, so that was really kind of cool.
Excellent.
So it was cool to do that for the first time. But yes, I do love my niece and her art. We love to talk about it a lot because I'm genuinely impressed with her when she makes. I love when you're in your process. Have you had people like watch you in your process? Because I love watching her. Like a lot of times she comes home for like Thanksgiving and then she'll be sitting at the table still. We're cleaning up dishes. We're doing all that stuff. And she's sitting there and she is like molding earrings right there. And just, she's in. And I've seen her paint earrings sitting there and she's like, I don't like that. And then she just completely paints over everything and starts again.
Right.
And then I see it and I'm like, wow, that looks really good. She's like, I don't like it either. And she paints it all over again.
Right.
And she just starts over. And I'm like,
she knows what she wants.
Yes.
And I love it. Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, how many beautiful art pieces have been painted over because the artist didn't like it, but it's their artwork, but somebody else may have found amazing.
How many VHSs have been taped over?
Yeah, right.
Many.
Yeah.
I still have them.
Well, I'll tell you what, in this regard, tomorrow night I'm going to be doing that in spades.
Oh, I'm so excited,
you'll be able
dude.
to see that. And I believe I can do that. I mean, this goes back to my acting experience because I do believe that the theater was my training for life, really.
Yeah, really.
Because it helps in everything.
For sure.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? I mean, this has just been amazing. I mean, we definitely can't thank you enough.
So boring, but
no. And I'm really referring to obviously today, but the last 8-9 months, whatever it's been.
Right.
You've been an absolute pleasure the entire time. You've answered all of our dumb questions and things like that.
We had a list of questions the last time we called you, and it was just the three of us. We didn't have Angela there that time. We just wanted to be like, we need to ask Andre what he needs for this and all this stuff. We had all these questions, and your whole thing that you said from the beginning, and you're just like, I want to be of use. I want to be of service to you guys while I'm there. And we're like, well, that kind of negates the rest of our questions. I don't know what else to ask.
Right.
So that is
well, I feel
cool
if I'm committed to this, which I am, this is an emotional thing for me, really doing these things, and especially in donating them and all that stuff. So it's got to be an emotional, the process for me on these.
Certainly.
It's got to be, it's really, again, it's for me. I'm doing this really for me.
Yeah.
It's a process. This is my drug of choice.
Right.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So the process, and the older I get, and I've been doing this for so long, but the older I get, I really I have tremendous gratitude. I feel very thankful for the process of being lucky enough to have a creative process in my life that, and I really feel that's what it's really all about. In the end of the day, it's about that. And if you can make it about about real time experience while you're doing something and appreciating that you're in a position to be able to do that and be free enough to be able to do that. Well, to me, that's really
that's success.
That's success.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
and
success.
I just again we are also so grateful, so thankful, and to me, we don't do this for me and BJ or anything like that. Nope. We do it for everybody else, and that includes you as well.
That's just so we all are kind of on the same philosophical page here.
And what I want to say is the thing that makes me so happy is when you get so happy talking about your art or these skateboards kind of dissecting each one and things like that. Like, I can see the absolute genuine love you're doing this for, and the smile on your face and everything. Like, that's what means the world to me. So
absolutely,
thank you so much.
The fact that you enjoy painting on skateboards, the medium that we absolutely, we've grown up loving.
I know, but in this regard of the painted decks, I mean, I am aware. I'm aware of the world, the cultural world of skateboards, which to me is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's kind of daunting, really. So when I had the opportunity to do this, it's scary for me because it's got such a history to it. And there's so much fantastic artwork on decks out there. So I just thought, well, this is my
contribution maybe.
This is my contribution to this genre.
Yeah.
And personally, I am happy with the way they came out.
Oh, we
I
love
really
it.
have.
Every
We are as
single
well.
one.
Bad, but every single one.
Every single one
I
is
agree.
an 11 out of 10. So,
They're
I agree.
fantastic.
yeah.
I agree.
So we can't thank you enough for sitting down, doing
Right.
this with us.
My
We're
pleasure.
so happy
Yep.
for the next couple days that we have going on. Again,
Right.
Right.
if you're watching live, the 6th, we have the Skate Ohio Art Fair where Andre's going to be there and painting boards and talking to people and just overall being awesome.
And it is an all ages event too.
It
You
is.
should say that because I would say most of the people that signed up are kids and obviously
Yes.
some adults as well. But we've been getting messages like, "Can kids come and do this?" And
That's the idea.
I would love to see a parent and a kid side by side at their own table,
Mm-hmm.
painting each a deck and see kind of what they come up
That's
with.
what we want. That's
Yeah.
what we want for those. And then on Saturday, the 7th, we get to skate the mall. There's going to be artwork there. There's going to be vendors. The Sluss Realty Kids Ontario Kid Festival is going to be there as well.
Yep.
There's just going to be a lot of good things to come and
Well, this is on
experience there.
Saturday?
That's on Saturday. And then on Sunday, the 8th, we get to go out to Stoke Run. They're going to have a big bonfire, and Andre will be out there. So if you wanted to come out and skate and experience them, it's just a normal skate day out there. But Andre's going to be there. He'd be happy to talk with you about a lot of things. And we're going to have a bonfire because I don't think Andre's had a good old-fashioned Midwest American bonfire.
Only in the movies.
Only in the movie. Well, you're
No,
going to get to
this is
experience
real
it for
life,
yourself.
yeah.
Right.
They
This'll
did
be
not
fun.
exaggerate at all.
No.
No burning books or anything, right?
No.
No bugs.
yeah,
We're
right.
not doing any of those things. We may burn some marshmallows.
Oh, good.
That
Okay.
may happen.
Yes.
But yes.
Yeah.
So, Andre, we can't thank you enough. Thank
Yep.
you for being here on the
I'm
Skate
very
Ohio
happy to be
podcast.
here.
Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
Adam, I guess there's just one thing left to do.
Well, there's actually two. I'm going to be honest with you. Hit that QR code for the raffle for these decks, but then go skate.
Right.
Later.
Mansfield Rising.
Let's go.